Back with yet another little update here for our online driver ed course. This will probably be the next to last video I send out. Hard to believe that we are about a week away now, or exactly a week away from the semester being over. I just wanted to go over a few things here. I'll touch on one of the things that will happen at the end of the course, and then I'll have more information about that when I send my last and final video out next week. So, in the course by now, hopefully, students are definitely working on or finished with Module 8 and moving on to Module 9 here as we get into our final week. I have a good number of students who are completely finished, which is great. There are more than a few, though, that are behind, I would say. So, this is my final little plea to you. If you could maybe motivate whomever might be in your house taking the course to get moving on this work. All right. So, the last time I saw you, we talked about sharing the road and the situational driving. The Module 9 here talks a little bit more about some of the conditions that drivers can face. And when I say conditions, we're talking about the actual driver, not the road conditions. So DUI is a big one, obviously. You read in the news or you look at the news and we see a ton of DUI-based crashes or situations that occur. So in the beginning here, we talk all about DUI, talk about some other drugs, and those other drugs could even be things like prescription medication. It could be things like Benadryl, Sudafed, those types of things that make a body drowsy. All right. Obviously, those are things that we don't want to consume prior to getting behind the wheel. So we'll talk a little bit about those things, talk about distractions. Obviously, I think we all know the number one distraction is this guy right here, the cell phone. And that's of all ages, not just teenagers. It blows my mind the number of people I see on their cell phone and driving. Even though we know it's not a good thing to do, we still feel the need to do that. So my big maybe plea to you is to, for lack of a better phrase, practice what you preach. All right. As we have young people learning how to drive, we always tell them to make sure that they don't use their phone while driving. However, oftentimes they see the adults in their life doing that same thing. So if we can kind of mirror what we are trying to say to these young people, I think it could be beneficial. And kind of devoting yourself to making sure that your phone is not a distraction for you as an adult, I think is a big way to kind of promote that distraction-free driving. This also talks a little bit about how our emotions come into play. So you guys probably are familiar with or might be a person who has a little bit of the road rage. And when something goes wrong while driving, in the flip of a switch, you go from being the kindest person in the world to maybe not so kind. So the way that we're feeling mentally, all of these things really can impact the way that we actually drive our vehicles. So this does a really nice job talking about that. This awareness test is a video. It's kind of cool. It's a short, like 1 minute long video. And honestly, it'd be a fun one for you to maybe participate in as well. But it talks a little bit about what you're seeing, and it gives a video of what to kind of look at and understand this a little bit better. So after they watch the video, they answer some questions. And then the final part is the last assessment for the course. So that is Module 9. Again, I think it does a pretty nice job of going over some of those big things that can impact the way a person's driving. I've talked about this early on in the course. If a student is successful in completing the whole course and passing, which typically is the case, at the end of the semester, they have the ability to receive a certificate from us, the school district, saying they completed a theory-based portion of a driver ed course. right? If you look at driver education, it's broken into the behind the wheel driving, which is physically driving the vehicle, and then the theory based. We do just that theory based part. So that is going to be something I talk a little bit more in depth about next time. But just know that in the future here, if a certificate's needed, and that's not needed until a person actually gets their driver license, not the permit part, but the actual license. A lot of times, insurance companies will accept our letter of completion or certificate of completion, and sometimes that results in a reduced premium for insurance. Not every insurance provider does that, but most typically will give a little bit of a reduction there. If you have questions about anything, please ask away. Again, I have on here by Wednesday, all these assignments and assessments should be completed. I technically have until Friday to do any grading and things like that. I like to tell students that it's due by the 15th. They will still have access to it until Friday. So if they're a little bit late, I still accept it. I'm a pretty forgiving person, I guess, but um, ultimately the deadline would be 11:59 p.m. on Friday, January 17th. If you have questions, like I said, please feel free to message me. I hope you guys have a great weekend. For you Penn Staters out there, which includes myself, hopefully you can find something to brighten your day today. Have a good weekend. Take care.